Hi, this is H Trayford with the Week 3 update for Cozy Crops. Excited to show off what has happened over the last week. So we have 19 commits for this week from a total of 3 contributors. That gives us a total of 59 commits from 3 different contributors for the game as a whole. And our progress bar continues to move forward. We're on week 3 of 18. So let's take a look at the actual contributors. So Krister gave us some variability in the way the butterflies flap their wings. It's a great example of how the animation system allows you to customize the animation, properties on an individual basis. And so he was able to adjust the butterflies so that they run their animation at different speeds, so they flap their wings at different rates. He found that there was a bug for a missing sprite sheet and was able to, create a new sprite sheet so that the game would continue to run. And then he made the wildlife sprite sheet larger, and in that process he added the bunnies that he drew up last week. He added those to that sprite sheet. He also got those added into the game, and so we'll get to see those when I get to the demo. Cassidy split crops PNG into short crops and tall crops, and then added the radish crop art to the short crops PNG. And so that's helpful to us so that we can specify that the short crops are, a fixed size, or 18 by 18 pixels, I think is what it is, whereas the tall crops are effectively 2 tiles tall. And so every frame in each of those 2 separate images is the same size, and that allows us to do some math on where the different frames inside the image are, so that we can more easily do the animations and pick out the different parts of the crops. And so it just makes it simpler to do the animations. And so I appreciate those 2 getting split up that way, and the additional crop art. The major effort for this week, Cassidy did the all of the player options art. So before we had just a single hairstyle, but you could choose different colors. Now there are several hairstyles, and we'll be working on getting the code set up so that you could choose a different hairstyle with any color, so that you have that combination of ways to design your character. Similarly, we now have different accessories like glasses and things, and so all of that art exists. None of the code to enable those accessories and those other hairstyles and things is working yet, but the art is there, so now it's just a matter of getting the code working, and it will go in a very similar way to the code that we use to change the colors of the shirt and the pants and the hair and things. So we've got a start on that, but there's work to do there. Also, there's an idea about forageable items, and so the idea is if your character runs low on money, there needs to be a way for you to kind of bootstrap your farm back up if you need that. And so the way that we are thinking about doing that is that you can forage for items that can be sold in town, so that basically if you go find these things, they're a way to get money without having first had any money. So you don't have to, there's no seeds to buy in order to get crops. You can just go find the truffles or the sunflowers and harvest those from just the wild, and then go to town and sell them, and then use that money to, get started. So Cassidy gave us the truffles and the sunflowers. There are a few more things in the Excel file that has kind of the economy stuff in it to describe as forageable items. And so, but we got to start there. Again, we have the art, but not the code, so we got to work on that. And then there's additional UI art that Cassidy provided to us, so that we have more, ability to communicate with the player. And so I added the other tools. So now we have an axe, a pickaxe, and a shovel. They exist, but they don't do anything, right? So last week Cassidy showed off that you can use the watering can to change sand into wet sand, and then you can also use the hoe to change grass into sand. So those 2 tools are kind of working at the basic level, right? They don't take into account the ability to increase their effectiveness by upgrading to the copper hoe or the titanium hoe, or whatever the upgrade options are for the various tools. So those 2 tools have the basics, but these 3 ones, the axe, the pickaxe, and the shovel, they exist in the game, but you can't do anything with them. The other thing I worked on was the draw order. So now anything that's part of the map just gets drawn first. So that's all the ground stuff. And then there's like the on-ground stuff. So that's like the player and the bunnies and the crops, all that stuff is drawn. And we're doing some sorting of that so that things that are in front of other things are drawn in the correct order. And then there are now above ground things. This is just the butterflies at this point, but those things are always above anything that is on the ground. And so we're doing that drawing in the correct order, and we'll get to see that in the demo. Krister added the bunnies, and there's a scaling factor happening in the background that is a little bit hard to find, I think. And so originally, Krister had bunnies being spawned on an area that was twice as wide and twice as tall as the map is. So I just made that adjustment to account for that scaling factor. And then I also made it so that the bunnies are only supposed to spawn on tiles that are walkable. So you're not supposed to have any swimming bunnies or bunnies sitting on top of roofs or anything like that. It doesn't work perfectly, but it's better. So there's probably a little bit of work to do to kind of tweak around the edges on that. And then I adjusted the animation art for the crops that existed to use the short crops or the tall crops image. And then I added the onion, the carrot, and the corn crops. And then I started working on shifting the player sprite animations from using the old player sprite atlas to the new one that Cassidy just finished. And so there's a lot more work to do there, but we're currently using it to draw what can be seen in game right now. So that was big progress too. So that's contributors and their contributions for this week. Take a look at some of the art that was done. In the upper right, we've got a little bit of a GIF of the animations that Krister did, so the bunnies, and then you saw the butterfly fly by just then. In the top left is the short crops, right? So at the top we get labeled lettuce. In code it's labeled cabbage, so I'm not sure if there's a difference there, but either way. And then the onion and the carrot are in game. The radishes at the bottom there, that actually got contributed kind of after the cutoff for the video here, but it made it into the artwork. So that is not yet implemented, but it will be. And then in the middle on the left side is the tall crops in sprite sheet, and you can see the corn along the bottom row there. And so the corn is in the game. We'll get to see that. And then some of that additional artwork that Cassidy did for us is the forageable items. So you can see the sunflower in the middle at the top of that 3x3 grid. And then on the right is some of the UI work, including the chest and the open chest. And then below the open chest is the open box there with like just the outline part of it. And so we're going to use that as an indicator for which tool is selected. I'll probably talk a little bit about that during the demo because it'll be easier to explain then. Speaking of the demo, let's try that out. So we'll go over to code and we'll get the game running. Okay, and I'll use C to clear out all my old games, and I'll create a new one. And none of this has changed yet, but this is where we will add in, so right here on the hairstyle, so we'll have a little box that allow you to choose a different hairstyle now that we have that ability. And then we'll also get some of the accessories in there so that we can select different, accessories. So I'll go ahead and change up some of this stuff so that we can just see that working. And then I'll start my game. Okay, and here we are. And hopefully you see right away kind of all of the bunnies and the butterflies going by. And so if we go down here, you can see that the butterflies are drawn over the top of the player. The idea being that they're up in the sky above, so they should always appear above. And then you can see that bunny is in front of me right now. And then if I move down a little bit, now I'm in front of the bunny. So that's kind of the drawing order stuff. And then there's one more piece I want to show here. And my computer is really dragging with all of the video recording going on and stuff. So we'll get up there here in a second. So here I've got the corn being drawn. So you can see that corn stalk is being drawn in front of me now, but I'm in front of the one behind it. And then now you can see how the drawing order is changing. So got all of that working pretty well. So those are kind of the big visible changes that exist in the game right now. And so I'll go ahead and close this out. spare my computer, and then we will shift over to the slides, and then go over to the Vikunja, which is over here. And so here we are on the 27th, and I'm recording the update video right now. And then I went ahead and shifted the things that were incomplete for this week over to the following weeks. And the thought process I had was that there's a lot of this day cycle stuff that we need to get done, and so I moved all of that into next week. And then I think all of the farming stuff, because you have to rewater your crops every day, so all of the farming stuff is kind of day based, and so I pushed that over to the week of November 10th in order to, because I think we need the day cycle stuff complete first, right? So next week is all about day cycle stuff, and then the following week is going to be back into the farming stuff. So we've got a few crops in there. We've got some different things that we can do. So we should be able to move in that direction. Things are just starting to stack up as they do. So that's the Vikunja, and I think that's it for the slides actually. Yeah, so that's it. A really great week. We've got a lot of progress done. The game's looking beautiful. It's a lot of fun to see all those bunnies running around, and the butterflies are awesome. So really excited, and I hope you come join us and have fun building cozy crops. Thanks.